The federal government has outlined its $9.1 billion climate action plan to curb greenhouse gases by 2030.
Canada's Environment Minister presented his roadmap, which includes a 42% reduction in oil and gas emissions and more than $2 billion towards a move to electric vehicles. Nicole Martin reports.
Flooding, extreme heat, and wildfires.
The climate crisis will still be with us when other crises have passed. So we have to redouble our efforts.
With climate change becoming more and more visible throughout the country, the federal government says Canada is warming at twice the normal average.
The work we have to do, yes, is ambitious, but is also realizable.
A new climate plan projects the oil and gas industry will need to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 42% from current levels by 2030 if the country is to meet its new targets.
It is time we all stepped up with a real, concrete plan that's going to get us to 40% by 30 and net zero by 2050, and this is that plan.
The oil and gas sector makes up the biggest share of Canada's carbon footprint with 26% of total emissions. While consultations between the feds and the energy sector are in the works for a cap, the government insists they won't cap production, only the emissions through new technology.
Canadian engineers are going to be central to developing those solutions, and a lot of them are right now in the oil patch and in the oil sector.
It was the oil sands pathways companies that actually made the commitment to net zero by 2050 some time ago. This is a step along the way, and we will be working with them over the coming months to ensure we put in place an appropriate cap that's going to work in a manner that will actually continue to employ people, but that will allow us to get at those emissions.
On transportation, the Liberals promised to spend another $400 million to help install 50,000 charging stations for electric vehicles and to expand the EV rebate program by $1.7 billion. It's also introducing a tougher schedule to shift Canadian vehicle sales to electric models. 1 in 5 new passenger vehicles are to be battery operated within 4 years, and 60% by the end of this decade.
The upcoming federal budget, which we've learned will be delivered next week, is expected to expand on the electric vehicle rebate program to include used electric vehicles as well as more expensive models.